This training video will be an overview of the editing and timeline area found at the bottom of Video Surgeon. And so let's just quickly walk through and explain what each of these areas are and what they do. There will be additional videos that go into some of these things in more detail, so you should look for those if you need additional information about any of these particular items we're going to cover. First thing I'd like to do, starting over here on the left-hand side, is just to briefly walk through what we have here. At the top is the marker area where you can place informational markers. This next area here, sort of right along the grid, is the selection area or the selection tool, which you can select part of a video by grabbing either the green or the red selection handles and sliding them. Below that we have a looping area, which is where the loop areas would be set on the screen if you create any. For instance, you can create them as I've just shown, and when you do that, the red and green beginning and ending loop points will appear on the screen, and then you will see the shaded area. Below that then we have two different channels, the first being the video channel and the one below that being the audio channel. You have checkboxes in both of these channels, which means that if you deselect it, then in this case there would be no video that plays back, you'd only hear the audio. And conversely, if you deselect the audio at the bottom, then you'll see the video, but you will not hear any audio. The other thing that you see in these channels are little locks or padlocks, and these are symbols that indicate that if you have something unlocked, it means that channel or that part of the data can be edited. So in this case, they're both unlocked, and if we do any type of an editing function, it will affect both channels. But if we lock one channel or both channels, then it will affect only the channels that are unlocked. So again, something to be aware of. Over here on the right is a little symbol that actually collapses the size of the user interface. So if you were not using this editing area at the bottom, you could click on this and it would close that bottom editing area and make your screen bigger. And again, click it again and it opens back up. Just a couple of other things here that come to mind before we close. Once you have these selection handles dragged on the screen to a particular location, and if you would like to re-nest them underneath this progress indicator, just double click on it and it closes any selection area on the screen and nests those selection handles below the progress indicator again. One last thing, and that is that you can actually zoom in on this timeline area, and you do that by putting your cursor on top of the timeline, right clicking, holding down and dragging. And as you do that, if you drag to the left, you'll zoom out, and if you drag to the right, you will zoom in. And there are times that zooming in is helpful because it means that the increments between these hash marks become smaller, and it will allow you to more precisely set looping areas, markers, as well as selection areas on the screen. The other thing that's helpful when you use the timeline zooming tool that I've been showing you is that you may need to see more of this timeline, and so you can do that by using the left and right arrows on your keyboard, and when you do that you can see that we actually slide the timeline either to the left or the right. And that will conclude this overview of the timeline and editing area at the bottom of the Video Surgeon 2 user interface.